Brookside, Illinois, a quiet little town where nothing much ever happens. The kind of place where time moves slowly and everyone knows each other's name. But in the summer of 2020, the town's peaceful routine was violently disrupted by a discovery no one was prepared for. Inside a privately run reptile facility, 34-year-old Leah Monroe, a well-respected exotic animal handler, was found dead, coiled around her neck, a massive reticulated python. Not a wild intruder, but a creature she had raised from hatchling to adulthood. A snake she loved. A snake that killed her. Welcome to Wild Encounters, the channel where we explore real, often haunting stories of human and animal interactions gone wrong. If stories like these stick with you long after the video ends, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. You help us tell more stories that matter. Leah Monroe wasn't just a hobbyist. She was a recognized name in the local exotic pet community. With a background in zoology and over a decade of experience handling reptiles, Leah had turned her garage into a fully equipped reptile sanctuary. Over 30 snakes and lizards lived there in precisely controlled habitats. Heating lamps, UV lighting, humidity monitors, and custom enclosures. Each detail was fine-tuned to perfection. Her pride and joy, a 9-foot reticulated python named Nero. She had raised him from the size of a shoelace. To her, Nero wasn't a threat. He was family. Those who knew her said Leah had a gift. She could remain calm in situations that would terrify others. She was meticulous, not reckless. Her social media reflected that. Updates on enclosure cleaning, feeding routines, handling tips. She was an educator, a mentor, and a voice of reason in a world filled with impulse buyers and thrill seekers. But even the most careful hands can make one wrong move. On August 15th, 2020, Leah missed her regular Saturday dinner with her parents. They called, texted, no response. Knowing how reliable she was, her father drove to her house that evening. The lights were on. Her car was in the driveway, but she didn't answer the door. He went around the back and let himself in. What he found would haunt him forever. Leah lay unresponsive on the floor of her reptile room. Her skin was pale, lips tinged blue. Coiled tightly around her neck was Nero, silent, unmoving but still wrapped. Paramedics arrived within minutes. They tried everything, but it was too late. Leah was declared dead at the scene. There were no signs of a break-in, no struggle elsewhere in the house. Just one room, one woman, one predator. The autopsy was clear. Cause of death, asphyxiation due to compression of the neck. The python had likely mistaken her movement or scent for feeding time. Once the squeeze began, it would have taken less than a minute for Leah to pass out. Without anyone to intervene, death came quickly. There were no bite marks, no scratch wounds, no evidence that she had time to react. A silent shift from control to chaos. The authorities confirmed everything was in order. Leah's facility was legally registered. The animals were in good health. Nero had not escaped. He had been out under her supervision, likely for cleaning. The tragic result wasn't negligence, just a fatal misjudgment. Experts from around the country began weighing in. Dr. Marina Cho, a reptile behaviorist, explained, pythons don't bond with humans. They recognize feeding patterns, environmental cues, and temperature changes, but not affection. These creatures don't understand love or loyalty. They understand heat, motion, and instinct. The reticulated python is a non-venomous constrictor, but non-venomous doesn't mean harmless. They are apex predators, equipped with heat-sensing pits that detect body temperature. Once they strike, they coil with overwhelming force. Each exhale from the prey allows them to tighten further. It's a biological reflex. And once it starts, it doesn't stop. In Illinois, Leah's setup was fully legal. The law does not require a permit for owning non-venomous snakes, no matter their size. No rule mandates that handlers work in pairs. No emergency plan was required by state law. And yet, that absence of regulation became a hole big enough for tragedy to slip through. In the wake of Leah's death, a proposal called Leah's Law began circulating. The legislation would require certifications, safety protocols, and annual inspections for owners of large constrictors. Advocates argue it's a necessary step, that while Leah did everything right, the law still left her exposed. In Brookside, grief took many forms. Within hours of the news breaking, neighbors began leaving candles, cards, and flowers at the fence surrounding her reptile building. Plush snakes and handwritten notes piled up day by day. Her family released a public statement. Leah loved these animals. She gave her life to understanding them. She knew the risks, and she faced them without fear. We only hope her story inspires change. Across reptile forums and social media, the reactions were split. Some insisted Leah's case was a one-in-a-million tragedy, a freak accident that shouldn't be used to punish responsible keepers. Others called it a wake-up call, a reminder that even seasoned professionals are vulnerable, that even the calmest animals can become deadly in seconds. Several online groups launched initiatives in her name. One, called Respect the Coil, began offering free safety courses for reptile owners, distributing materials on how to respond to emergencies, and petitioning for state-level reform. One core message emerged: if this had happened to Leah, it could happen to anyone. The tragedy also ignited a new wave of caution among experienced reptile owners. Many began reevaluating their own setups, routines, and emergency procedures. Some started sharing their close calls, times when they too had underestimated the instincts of their animals. Leah's story had become more than just a headline. It became a turning point. Experts compiled a list of updated safety guidelines, ones they hope will prevent future loss. Never handle large constrictors alone. Always have a second trained person nearby. Always feed snakes in a separate enclosure to prevent food association with the handler. Use tools like snake hooks, clamps, and bite-proof gloves during routine maintenance. Have emergency tools nearby, shears, CO2 devices, and even custom-designed anti-constriction poles. Share emergency plans with family or housemates, even if they don't work directly with animals. Label enclosures with clear hazard signs and emergency contact info. Psychologists also weighed in. Dr. Eli Browning, a specialist in human-animal interaction, noted a dangerous psychological phenomenon common among exotic pet keepers: risk normalization. When you work with these animals every day, he explained, you can start to believe that familiarity equals safety. But with creatures like pythons, that's a deadly illusion. He pointed to another psychological factor: control through proximity. Many exotic pet owners are drawn to the sense of mastering something others fear. It becomes a symbol of identity, even empowerment. But control with wild animals is always conditional. It lasts only as long as instinct allows. There's also the concept of anthropomorphism, attributing human qualities to animals. Over time, handlers may believe their snake knows them, trusts them, or loves them. But snakes aren't dogs. They don't bond. They react. They survive. And sometimes those instincts are indifferent to years of care. Leah wasn't the first victim of a large constrictor. And sadly, she may not be the last. In 2013, 2 brothers in Canada were killed by a rock python that escaped its cage and entered their room as they slept. In Indonesia, multiple fatal attacks have been recorded where villagers were swallowed whole by wild pythons. And in Florida, where invasive Burmese pythons now thrive, there have been several close calls with pet owners and researchers alike. These cases, though rare, form a chilling pattern, a reminder that with these animals, one mistake is often one too many. Legally, the U.S. remains a patchwork. Exotic animal ownership is regulated state by state. Some places require permits, inspections, and training. Others, like Illinois at the time of Leah's death, do not. There's no federal oversight, no national standard. That inconsistency, experts say, creates gaps where tragedies can occur. Animal welfare groups continue to lobby for changes. Mandated safety inspections for homes housing large reptiles. Licensing for ownership of constrictor species over a certain length. Emergency planning requirements and registration with local authorities. Limitations on exotic pets in residential neighborhoods. Opponents argue these measures would punish responsible keepers. They claim the majority of exotic pet owners are careful, educated, and compliant. Some even point to statistics. Domestic dogs kill more people each year than snakes. So why target reptiles? But Leah's story, like others before hers, isn't about statistics. It's about consequences. About how fast a routine can become a fatal event. And how even the most skilled handlers can lose their lives in the blink of an eye. Her family has continued to speak publicly, pushing for change not through anger, but through awareness. In one interview, her sister said, "Leah didn't die because she was reckless. She died because something went wrong, fast." And that's the lesson. No matter how much you love your animal, you must respect its power. Her reptile sanctuary was eventually closed, and the remaining animals were transferred to other licensed caregivers. Nero, the snake that killed her, was not euthanized. He now lives in a private facility under constant supervision. Some called for his destruction. Her family refused. She would never have wanted that, her father said. Today, Leah's name lives on, not just in memorials, but in policy proposals, educational campaigns, and a quiet but profound shift in how the exotic animal community thinks about safety. Her death became a symbol of the fine line between wonder and danger, trust and instinct. It's a lesson not only for those who own exotic pets, but for anyone drawn to nature's wildest forms, that what we admire from a distance must be respected up close, that even years of harmony can be shattered in seconds, that the wild, no matter how familiar, is never fully tame. So now we ask you, what do you think? Should laws around exotic animal ownership be stricter? Can experience and training ever fully eliminate the risks? Or is this just the price some are willing to pay for a deeper connection to nature's most misunderstood creatures? Let us know in the comments. If this story left an impression on you, please like and share. It helps us reach more people with stories that matter. And as always, thank you for watching Wild Encounters. Stay curious, stay cautious, and above all, stay respectful to wild.